In the US, a 1943 copper penny has sold for over $1.7 million. Not because copper's rare, but because in 1943, that copper penny wasn't supposed to exist. CS2 has the same thing. Digital items that are supposed to be worth 40 cents, but are worth 10, 20, 50 times the market rate because of how they look. And a lot of the times, it gets sold to people in buy orders by people who have no idea what gold they're sitting on in their inventory. So allow me to show you how to find them. Welcome back to the Armory Report. I'm your host, Mike Water9, and we will do this every 2 weeks when we take a deep dive into the Armory. I'm expecting a limited time item sometime in February and an Armory refresh in late March or early April, the 1st. You can see my full prediction list in the other video, which I'll link above. But right now, people are stocking up. Currently, the focus is on Train 2025. Now, Train, if you aren't privy, is the map being removed when Season 4 comes in next week, January 19th, January 20th, whenever they add the new season. But here's the thing. Even though the map is being taken out of the pool, we've received zero confirmation on behalf of Valve that the Train collection is being removed from the Armory. For example, the Overpass collection was still in the Armory when it wasn't in the map pool, so it's not necessarily guaranteed Train leaves. So this is a prime opportunity of selling into strength. If you watched my Armory report 2 weeks ago, I called the Glock 18 Green Line and Factory New. Back then it was $7.50 on most third-party marketplaces, and it now goes for around $13 on Steam, and a little bit lower on marketplaces, $11, $12. Still, that's a range of around 40 to 67%. So if you're holding a decent amount of them, consider trimming your position. Lock those profits in, and you can either rotate into new plays that look good to you, or back into the same play once prices reduce a little bit in time. People are buying now, but we still have another month before anything realistically comes. So hype will die down eventually and prices will depress. But here's what no one's talking about right now. The alpha is not in the skins, but rather something else in the Armory. Now if you look on a website, skins have very good ROI. However, the profit per open is rather low, around 7% for most of them. And that's because you basically need to guarantee yourself a high tier item like the Fade or the Be the Monster to get a profit. The charms and stickers, their profit percentage is around 20%, which means around 1 in 5 you can expect something that'll make you a profit. The elemental stickers are something good to look into right now because they're widely speculated to be removed in the next Armory refresh. The charms also carry a 20% profit percentage, but the ROI is misleading on these websites, and that's because it does not take into account the pattern ranges. Now, when you get a charm from the Armory, what do you do with it? If it's not popular, if it's a blue or purple, you probably just list it and move on. Done. But you're playing it wrong. Now, every skin has 1,000 pattern variations. Not all of them have different looks for each pattern. However, if you look, they all are numbered between 0 and 1,000 pattern index. It's right next to the float on that little informational screen. Charms have 100,000, and the patterns on the charms can fundamentally change how the charm looks on your gun and in-game. Shinier, different colors, you name it. And the charm that you listed for $2, someone just bought it and resold it on the third party for 40. And this is happening constantly because here's the hard truth. Most players don't know charm patterns exist to the degree in which they do. They see a charm, they see a market price, they list. Done. Meanwhile, the people hunting patterns are setting buy orders, catching listings before they even hit the market, and then selling them for 20 times the rate they purchased it at. So today, let's make you one of them. If you don't want to be sick though, I'd recommend not looking at your market history because you very well may have let a few slip if you redeem charms on a decent basis. Now it sort of gets counterintuitive when you look at the charms. You'd think the valuable patterns would be spread evenly across the 100,000 patterns, but that's not the case. Each charm pretty much has its own pattern logic. Some want the extremes, some want specific windows, some are really only valuable at one specific pattern. Take the Hot Howl for example, probably the most recognizable charm we have thus far. Patterns 1 through 25,000 have a very strong, glittery holographic effect. Depending on where you are in that range, the color shifts from red to orange. Pattern 1 is the apex, most saturated, most shiny charm in the entire range. As you approach 25,000, it starts to taper, and eventually it tapers off to 75 to 100,000, in which the charm has a pretty distinct matte finish. This is also pretty desirable. Same charm, but a completely different look, and thus a completely different price it commands in the market. But on top of that, always be on the lookout for fucking, stupid numbers. 67, 69, 420, 80085, those numbers. Alright, we're talking CS players, like notorious dorks. So these patterns, regardless of the visual aspect, are going to command a little bit more of a price if you wait long enough. Same thing with clean numbers like 1, 10, 2026, 99999. These are numbers that look intentional, and they'll often command a little bit of an overpay. And of course that scales up with the charm rarity. A 99999 hot Howl is going to be more than a 9999 blue. But the actual money is going to be in the ranges, so allow me to show you some more. Like the glove and knife guides, let's start with tier 1. These are going to be your money makers. Now the small arms charm doesn't have the best ROI on the websites. However, this die-cast AK makes the ROI much higher than I think you realize. This might be the most valuable charm in the first generation as not only an investment vehicle, but also the most realistic and best thing you can expect from opening the charm collections over and over and over again. So patterns 1 through 10,000 are golden colored. The closer to 1 you are, the more gold they look. These are great because they match a lot of loadouts. People love to use it on the fuel injector, the Dragon Lord looks good on, the M4A1S golden coil, skins like that. The opposite end of the spectrum, patterns 90 through 100,000 have a distinct blue to teal color the higher you go. Also, another popular loadout matches with a lot of guns, therefore will command some overpay. But the AK also houses the rarest charm, I'm pretty sure, in terms of a range, and that is the Ruby diecast AK. Usually a lot of these patterns range from 10,000s, like 20 to 30, 40 to 50, etc. So relatively rare. And right dead center, 22,500. That's the holy grail. That's the max red Ruby AK. I pulled one of these early on last year, and I sold it for around 90 bucks on auction. And that's a purple in a charm from the Armory. So it didn't even cost the max amount of stars, and it got me a $95 return. Also from the small arms charms, the 3 knives, Baby Carrot T, Baby Carrot CT, as well as the semi-precious pink rated charm. The semi-precious seems to be more valuable than the reds here, which is great for redemptions ROI because we don't have to basically depend on that red to get us our money back. Semi-precious has a emerald pattern from 1 to 25,000. The closer to 1 you are, the better. And a distinct purple tone from 75 to 100,000. Anything in between is blue, so it's going to be less because the range is 50,000, so a much larger chance of getting it. The ends of the spectrum is where you'll see some overpay. Baby Carrot T and CT follow the same pattern, although with a different color. They are golden in color, so from 1 to 25,000, they're going to be like a rose gold. There'll be like a distinct copper color in the middle, 25 to 75. And then from 75 to 100,000, they're more pure gold. The apex here, though, is at 75,000, in which it's like a shiny foil gold. It looks expensive, and it sells expensive. Now, if you're not looking to get lucky on a redemption, and you just want to buy some of these rare patterns, the Steam market often lists things for way higher than they're actually worth, and it's not worth buying from these websites. For pattern-specific sales, you need sellers who know what they're talking about and who will list it at a fair rate. And that's why I work with the UUSKINS, today's sponsor. Real liquidity, transparent pricing, and the market low rate for pretty much every skin, charm, anything you want in the game. Using my link in the pinned comment, the description, or the QR code will directly support your boy. So without further ado, let's get back to the patterns. Let's enter tier 2 here. Now these charms have overpay potential, but the windows are a little bit more narrow. The hot Howl, as we spoke about earlier, you really want to be in that 1 to 10,000 range for the glittery effect, and then like 97.5 to 100,000 for that matte effect. And if you get around dead center, 49 to 51k, that could warrant you a little bit of overpay as well. However, not too much to complain about. If you get this one from a redemption, you're already up around 50 to 60 bucks. And this one probably has a decent amount of room to grow after it's discontinued. The Diamond Dog, which is a pink, kind of functions with the same mechanic. The lower it is, the shinier, finishes off towards matte at the higher end of the spectrum. You're looking for ranges like 0 to 5,000 and then 95,000 to 100,000. Next one is the That's Bananas charm. Pattern 1 is going to be the oldest, the most brown, like black looking banana, and it gets more unripe the higher you go, 100,000 being the max green. Fairly intuitive, just backwards, and the extremes and the dead center pay. 1 to 1,000, 99 to 100,000, 49 to 51,000. The next one is the Chicken Lil. Now this one's pretty complex because it kind of ranges throughout the whole entire color spectrum. But there's only a few that I think could warrant an actual overpay. One, the actual chicken color, or red beak. This maxes out at 50,000 on the dot, and the red ranges from around 45 to 60,000. Also, the green one, it matches the emerald loadout quite well. It's a very lime, bright green. And this maxes out at 80,000, and the range is from 75 to 90. And all of these are going to command you some decent amount of overpay. Even if it's 10%, take it. This one's a little bit weird. It's an anomaly, but just make sure you check it before you sell it off. It's the teacup charm from the missing link charms. The teacup does not follow the rules. It's sort of like a case hardened in that every single pattern looks a little bit different. It's a picture that shifts over and over and over. It's a pretty common charm. It's not very desirable. It really only looks good on the inheritance. But at the higher end of the spectrum, around 99 to 100,000, and more specifically 99,500, the word smoke appears on the middle part of the teacup charm. And that's it. That's the only premium pattern in this one out of 100,000. If you're in that range, it'll be slightly off kilter, but it will be there and it'll probably warrant some overpay. If you have it, now you know. If you don't, move on. But you should know because it is a fairly common charm you get if you redeem this one on a regular basis. Lastly, tier 3. These ones do have rare patterns, however they're not very desirable in the first place, so they're not going to warrant too much of an overpay, but it's best to list these on an auction regardless. The second red rarity from the missing link charms is the hot worst. The higher it gets, the more rainbow the flames look on the bottom, and they become sort of iridescent in the 97.5 to 100,000 range. So consider looking, so be on the lookout for those numbers. The hot sauce charm is a blue, and while it typically runs for around 20 to 30 cents, if you get in that lower range of around 1 to 10,000, it's like a pure red hot sauce bottle, which can turn it from a loss into like a break even, maybe a little bit of a profit if you auction it off at the right time. Okay, so here's how it all connects. Right, these are first generation charms. These are the OG collections, the missing link and the small arms charms. The newer ones are a different video for a different Armory report sometime in the future. I personally like these ones right now because they have the highest opportunity of going in the next Armory refresh. Combine this with the patterns, it makes it a very good looking opportunity. Now I'd bet that at least one of these is gone next time. Now I'd bet at least one of these is gone in the next update. Now when that happens, supply stops. And I understand that unlike stickers, the charms don't necessarily go away because you can always detach them. However, a rare pattern is always going to have a low supply. Therefore, it'll always command a decent amount of overpay. And there will be a spike when discontinuation happens. It's just market psychology. So here's my best play for you. Set buy orders on Steam specifically. Because when someone dumps a charm at the market rate on Steam specifically, they're not checking the patterns most of the time. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. They're clearing their inventory and your buy order is going to catch it first. Do not use third-party markets for this. Sellers there are going to be more knowledgeable of their patterns by the fact that they're using a third-party market in the first place. They'll auction off their shit. On Steam, there's a realistic chance that you get a rare pattern for cheap. You could get a die-cast ruby AK, you can get a gold one. You won't know until you check. But they won't check, and that's your edge. The charm market is fairly new, thus it is inefficient. Most of the player base doesn't know the patterns exist to the level in which they do, and the ones who do are quietly accumulating. But, like all information gaps in a market, they will eventually close. Once the first collection rotates out and charms become a mainstay in the game, pattern premiums are going to become common knowledge, more so than they already are, and that arbitrage window is going to shrink pretty fast. Next time we'll go a little bit deeper with some more stuff Valve has planned for the Armory, and why the limited time items should catch your eye a tad bit. In between the Armory reports, I'm thinking about doing a sticker report. Let me know what you guys think about that. I will live stream on Twitch tonight, starting to grow a pretty nice community over there, so tune in if you are free. Other than that, peace.